Did you ever have to deal with these guys from Neighborhood Block as a police officer?
Yeah, I did. In fact, Percy Perrodin came up to me one day. Percy was one of my academy mates. He went to the academy. He ended up being a commander in Compton. But anyway, he came up to me one day. I was working with Saul Langster, and he says, my brother Eric is being beat up by the Neighborhood Block Crips. He's going to Enterprise, and every time he comes home, they jump him. And so can you go and talk to Lance Singleton and get his mind right, because his mind ain't right. So I said, yeah, I'll take care of it. So I took Saul Langster, and we went over to Lance Singleton's area, and I took Lance down and told him that he was going to have to stop that shenanigans of messing with Eric Perrodin, who later became the mayor of Compton. And I said, if you do it one more time, I'm going to come down on you, big time. And that was the last time that they'd messed with Eric.
So they were basically bullying the future mayor of Compton.
Exactly.
Huh? I think he actually even became a district attorney or a city attorney.
Yeah, DA.
DA for Compton, right?
No, DA out of Santa Monica, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That so Lance Singleton and them guys were harassing a future politician.
Right. Yeah. If you ever have a chance to talk to Eric, ask him.
I will. I've always wanted to. I never met Eric. So Percy Perrodin is related. They're related how?
They're brothers.
They're brothers. Okay. So both the Perrodin family, I guess, is a very political family in Compton.
Very political. Yeah. Their father was a janitor in Compton at the police department, and way back in the early '60s. So he got to know everybody, and his son Percy used to help him.
Now you also mentioned Mack Thomas. He's kind of known as a legendary figure in the history of Compton Crippin'. What can you tell us about Mack Thomas?
He was a more violent gangbanger than Lance Singleton. Okay, he was bigger and stronger. He had more guys followed him. That's why he's probably more legendary than nobody even heard of Lance Singleton, unless you were there. But Mack Thomas was the one that went to a party that was being thrown by the Pyrus on Pyrus Street, 1973, I think, or so. No, it was around 73, 72, right around that era. And they had a party going, and they invited Raymond Washington, and also they had Tukey in there. And what happened was that Mack Thomas showed up because he didn't like the idea that Raymond Washington and Tukey were giving Sylvester and Lorenzo so much part of the gang. And so he started a fight, and the fight broke out into the street where everybody got involved, the Compton PD road. And I was living right around the corner, so I went there and see what was going on. And they were fighting all over the place. But Mack Thomas, that's what broke the back of Pyrus being Crips. From that day on, they stopped being Crips, and they became Pyrus. Later, Bloods.
So I guess Mack Thomas did he have a reputation that was already known by the police department?
Yeah, he was known. He was a known gangbanger and a known leader.
And he would later be murdered, I think, in '76. I think he was killed in Compton. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't follow that. I know Lyle Thomas got killed. That was bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That unrelated though.
No, they weren't related.
Yeah, they weren't related. You mentioned Lorenzo Benton, who just got out of prison, I believe, this year or last year, after doing like 30-something years. He was convicted for the murder of Salty.
Michael LeBlanc.
What do you remember of Lorenzo Benton?
Well, Lorenzo was a tough guy. He was tougher. He was as tough and as violent, more violent than Sylvester Putin. Putin was more of a politician in a way than Lorenzo. Lorenzo was just a mean character. When he killed Salty, okay, he was on Gunlock Street, right behind the Grandees. And I remember when Salty was dying, and we went up to him, Barry LaBelle, the detective, and Salty told him, "Don't let them forget who I was and what I was." Those were his dying words. Don't let them forget who I was and what I was. That was Salty.
And how long did it? I think I remember him from just reading that he got arrested pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
were you part of that investigation or knew the officers on it?
Barry LeBlanc handled that. I was at the scene, but I didn't handle it.
But he was arrested like shortly thereafter.
Oh yeah. Everybody knew what had happened, because he took down a big dude. Salty was a big, and it's like the mafia. You don't make a hit like that unless you have the okay from the main actors. I think Cleve Sloan told me a story once before. We both know Cleve, and he told me that when he was breaking in with the Athens Park Bloods, that he had a clean shot of killing Turtle, Santana Block hitman, a big man with a Santana Block Turtle, and he was going to shoot him. He had an open range on him, but they told him, "Don't you dare shoot Turtle. If you shoot Turtle, it's going to start a major war between the Santana Block and Athens Park. You get the okay before you do that. You don't touch him. He's an untouchable."
But eventually, Turtle was murdered.
Oh yeah. Well, somebody gave the word.
Yeah. So, what was known of Salty, aka LeBlanc, at that time before he was killed? How much did you guys know about him?